As we look at the leadership of our organizations 5, 10, and 20 years in the future, who's leading it? Who's leading your organization after you're gone? It's not a thought a lot of people want to think about, but it's an important one. We've got to look at succession planning. Are we grooming the people in our organization to take over after we've moved on, after we've retired? This idea of succession planning is often ignored, especially in very small organizations or very large organizations. Some people don't realize that most people say they want to work until they're about 67, maybe 68 years old. But the reality is most Americans wind up having to retire or stop working on a full-time basis by the time they're 62, either to care for themselves, to care for a family member's sickness, a parent, or even a child. The health issues are causing people to retire at 62. So even though you may be planning on working until you're 67, that's not a likelihood. So we've got to plan on who's going to take over for us when we're gone. Now I'll tell you, this is one of the things the military does better than many civilian organizations. Our job as military leaders is to make sure the people working for us are able to succeed in the next job with greater responsibility and more leadership opportunities. Our job in the military is to train people for that next job. Now, wouldn't it be amazing if all organizations were looking at their employees with an eye toward helping them guide that career to their next success? And in succession planning, this is what we have to look at. As leaders, we have to make sure we are developing the people who work for us, both professionally and career-wise, so that they can go on to take greater opportunities, to step into jobs with increased roles, responsibilities, and leadership. It might surprise you to know that the average person working from home is 49 years old. They are a college graduate. They work for a company that has over 100 employees, and they are professional. Not only that, but people who work from home or remotely report 9.5% more time actually at work working on the projects they're supposed to be working on. Not only that, but people who have the flexibility to work from home are also 13.5% more productive. So if you're a leader who's looking for results and outcomes, your remote workers are a great solution. Not only that, but people who work from home report lower stress, higher morale, an 82% higher employee engagement number. That's astonishing in terms of your productivity. And it's got obvious benefits for you, the organization. As our workforce evolves, it is more and more important for leaders to plan for their succession. Who's going to lead your organization after you've gone? Who's going to be in charge after you've retired? Let's make sure that we're looking carefully at the talent, skills, abilities, and the people who are going to lead our organization moving forward. Many people don't want to think about the idea of training their own replacement because they think they're invaluable in the workplace, and you are. But at some point in time, somebody else is going to take over. Somebody else is going to step into your shoes, and you've got to make sure you've prepared that person for wonderful, amazing success because you care about your organization and the people you serve. Our future workforces are going to need leaders who are adaptable, flexible, and accommodating to our employees' growing needs for flexibility in their own right. This is what this looks like today. Large companies, Aetna, for example, 35,000 workers, over 14,000 of them are now working remotely. Remote workers are also called virtual workers or telecommuters. This is saving Aetna, on average, about $78 million. So you can see why companies are doing more and more of this. American Express, for example, is also saving on average $10 to $12 million per year simply by allowing people to work from home. Now, not everybody wants to work from home. Some people need the atmosphere, the collegiality, the camaraderie that comes with being part of an office. And we're seeing this in WeWork, organizations that are cropping up where people can go to places where there are like-minded people doing creative things, working on creative ideas, and making sure that you've got other employees working together in the same workspace so that you don't feel quite so alone. People can work anytime, anywhere, from any device. This is the age of being a digital nomad. And increasingly, employees want some kind of say in where they work, how they work, and when they work. Some people work better in the morning. Some people work better at night. Some people need that flexibility that allows them to spend time with their kids in the afternoon, or go coach Little League, or some other community activity that they care about. Increasingly, as leaders, we've got to make sure we provide these opportunities for people to keep the talent pool we want. If we want to attract the best possible people for our organization, we have to make sure we're providing them with what they want and what they need to be as successful as possible. So if you've got employees and you're starting to lose some employees and you're trying to find talent, you may want to look at how you're making it either easy or hard for people to be successful. Think about the obvious impact of the carbon footprint. We have fewer people on the roads, fewer people on subways and trains and using public transportation. It reduces the number of people who are congesting our transportation system. It also decreases the amount of stress people have in the workplace. People are now allowed the flexibility to run errands when they have to, or fix something when they have to, instead of taking a work. 68% of millennials, those people who were born between 1984 and 2000, say that a company that will allow them to be flexible in where they work, how they work, and when they work, they find those companies far more attractive than companies with more rigid 9-to-5 work ideologies. I had a sales manager who walked into a new organization, and he told folks there, and he was a sales manager, he said, "I need to see you from 9 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon." And his sales teams were shocked. They said he clearly doesn't understand that most of the work we do happens out in the field, when we're meeting with clients, when we're working with our customers. Sales don't happen when we're sitting at our desk. But as many leaders, we find people mired in this old thinking that if you're not at work, that you're not actually working. Now, we all know people who are at work and they're not working. But if the accountability is in place, it doesn't matter where people are, they can be productive. Not every employee is cut out for a remote workspace. It takes discipline, it takes scheduling, it takes clear goals, roles, and responsibilities, and mostly it takes people who are comfortable with the idea of results-oriented work, and that's not everybody. As a leader, you've got to make sure that the people you hire for your remote workspace are the people who are going to succeed in that environment. It's not fair to put people into a remote situation where they'll fail. That's not fair. It has obvious benefits for you, the organization, allowing people to work from home. 64% of more senior Americans say they would continue to work if they had more flexibility with their working hours. The millennials say 48% of them are more interested in companies that allow some kind of flexible remote working or WeWork or that type of collaborative office environment. And the environmental impacts are obvious. A lower carbon footprint as fewer people are on the road. An easier commute while fewer cars are on the road for everybody else who's still commuting.